Good afternoon, students. I now welcome you to a new program, Games in Pathology, which means Gross and Microscopy Explained. I shall be covering the practical aspects of the gross specimens, slides, instruments, and charts. Incidentally, I would like you people to kindly send me the list of the specimens and slides that you would like to have covered to the mail that I have provided in this program. Welcome, all of you. Game for students, which means gross and microscopy explain. Now, this is the first set of specimen and slide that I am describing. It is a specimen of a tuberculous lymph node. On the screen, we are seeing multiple nodes which are of varying sizes. They vary from round to ovoid. And when you describe, you'll have to use this format. The largest node measures so many centimeters and the smallest so many centimeters in diameter. The external surface will be bosselated, smooth, and gray-white. The cut surface, it shows irregular map-like areas, which are again grayish-white to grayish-yellow, which indicate the areas of necrosis. So N incidentally means the necrosis. Also, there is an arrow pointing to the junction between the two adjacent nodes. This is what we call as matting of the nodes due to perinodal fibrosis. Yet another specimen of a group of lymph nodes. Here we find that the nodes are all adherent as marked by the arrow. Externally, there will be a capsule, and the cut surface shows multiple irregular areas of necrosis. In some cases, I find that the node is totally being replaced by necrosis. And this is another way of describing a tuberculous lymphadenitis. I find a large lymph node measuring several centimeters. Look at the scale over here. And it is showing areas of necrosis. And as the disease progresses, you find that the areas of necrosis coalesce or join together and form large, irregular, geographic map-like structures. And this is the area of normal lymph node. It is an example of a caseous necrosis. Now, this particular specimen can be a question for you in MCQ. In practicals, the specimen can be kept for description or for Viva-voce. A chart also can be created. So there are multiple avenues, and needless to say that it is a long theory question also. And there are multiple aspects that you people will have to see. Defining necrosis, what is a granuloma, what is an epithelioid cell, the types of tuberculosis, miliary tuberculosis, and the modes of diagnosis. The stain that can be used will be the Zeal-Nielsen's modification of the acid-fast stain or the Oermann and Rhodeman stain. At least 100 questions are possible. Please refer R.A.T.S, tuberculosis 1 and 2. We are now going to the microscopy of tuberculosis. This is a slide of a tuberculous lymphadenitis. And I hope you will be able to identify the components of this slide. I will be slow and deliberate. Please let us see whether we can identify each of these. C is a capsule. Any lymph node is externally surrounded by a capsule. I am finding a collagen-like material that is surrounding the lymph node. And the dark cells are the lymphocytes. You identify a lymphocyte by the cells which are small, dark, and uniform. The cytoplasm is scanty. This itself is a clear indication that it is a lymphocyte. Lower down, I am finding multiple pale areas. There are pale areas. In fact, they are all joining together and almost replacing the entire lymph node. This is called a granuloma, and the plural is granulomata. Compared to the lymphocytes, I find that the cells here are all pale. And what I am pointing to will be the nucleus. These are the nuclei that I am seeing. And the surrounding area is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is neither bright pink nor blue. We call it as amphophilic. And the nucleus is vesicular. Vesicular means it allows light to pass through. It's a vesicular nucleus. So this is a granuloma. Also, I find a large cell with multiple nuclei. The nuclei are all arranged circumferentially in the shape of a horseshoe or a necklace. And this is the Langhans giant cell, classical of tuberculosis. Here I am finding another giant cell. I hope you are able to identify the components of. So there is a giant cell over here and another giant cell. And remember, all the pale cells are the epithelioid cells and the aggregate is a granuloma. Important in this slide is, look at this eosinophilic acellular area, which is an area of necrosis. It is a very small area in this slide. In another one, I shall show you. And of course, the dark blue dots are the lymphocytes. And this is the mail to which I would like you people to send me your list of slides and specimens. I hope we can recollect what is that. So it is a lymph node as I can identify by means of the small, dark, uniform cells. And this is a giant cell. In this case, the two poles are showing aggregates of the nuclei. And look at this area, a large area which is pale, eosinophilic, acellular. This is the area of necrosis, the caseous necrosis that we see in tuberculosis. I hope you people can identify it. Kindly superimpose this knowledge on the slide and specimen that you have got in your college. You will definitely be able to identify it and describe. See you in game 2.